Yes.
Yes, so we are live. Let me check from my Facebook page. Yes, we are live. So, hi guys, we have our today's first webinar from the webinar series that we have launched, Roadmap to Fundraise Post COVID-19. And this series was just made for you to understand what will be the concept and all the solutions with the challenges that you're facing or you will be facing with your fundraise post COVID-19. And I'm sure all of you are staying at home. And if you're not, if you're going outside, I'm sure it's just for your work, nothing else. And so I invite um, our speakers on the board on the panel today, who is Mr. Pankaj sir, who is like a well-known personality in the startup ecosystem, who has mentored so many startups since years and is founder and chief mentor of Paddock Ventures. And then we have Akshay Chaturvedi, who is also a well-known personality who has recently been in the list of top 30 under 30 Forbes and in India and Asia. So first of all, congratulations, Akshay, for that. And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, guys, for joining us for the webinar today on Is Idea Validation Important? So I'll give you 2 minutes, both of you, if you can introduce about your experiences and how you're tackling the COVID-19 situation right now, basically.
Oh,
So
okay.
Pankaj, you can start.
All right. So, COVID-19 actually, this period has been more busy for us than normally. We work with accelerators and incubators and a whole lot of startups. So what we did was we launched a particular cohort this time. It is called Lockathon, and we invited applications. We got about 600 applications. And we decided that we will fund each one of them who actually qualifies in this cohort. Each one of them will get 25 lakhs as the funding. Because we realize it's very difficult to raise money in this point of time. Investors are not really looking at new investments. Angel investors are holding onto their money. So it's difficult. But we said, let's do it. And we found we currently have about 25 startups in our cohort. They're going through the boot camp. The boot camp ends on 2nd of June, and on 15th of June they will present to investors. So we've been very busy with this. We have at least one webinar every week, few mentoring sessions every week. So it's been like roller coaster ride. Other than that, we also had 2 more programs running, which were actually blended program, but they also became online. So I'm like doing 3 webinars in a week, couple of mentoring sessions a week. I'm like super busy right now. So it's good to stay busy and otherwise just watch Netflix. So that's not my game. Thanks for asking.
Great. How about you, Akshay? How it's been these last 2 months for you?
No, good year. So I'm the founder of Leverage Edu. Just to kind of introduce myself, we are a university admissions company. We are the largest online university admissions company in the country today. No interesting times, of course. We essentially started off the lockdown by launching a product called UniConnect, which is an online education fair platform which gives students access to meet universities from around the world in a virtual online format. And universities are going to get access to students from India and have those conversations, freewheeling conversations around admissions, around offers, around their reservations about their higher education plans this year, so on and so forth. So I think we started our live learning, something called Leverage Live, which is a live learning product where we are helping people learn from educators who are just about the best in any corner of this country. And that gives access to a wider range of people sitting in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities with the best learning knowledge, with the best testing that they can essentially get access to. So of course, so very much like I think Pankaj said, the focus has been to look inward in the last 2 or 3 months. And yeah, happy to be here and help any early stage entrepreneurs that I can.
Great. So as the topic of the today's webinar, today's live stream is idea validation important. So I'm sure both of you have gone through a phase where you have started up with some idea, like years down the line, or like it would be 10 years, 20 years, or 5 years. So I want to know the story behind your first idea that you had from the very beginning, Akshay and Pankaj.
You want to begin, Pankaj? Or I can take it as well. I have
Okay.
lots of stories. I can pick up the top one.
I started, we had no idea, and there was nothing that's, kind of was like, it'll change the world or something. I was working with a company called India Telecom, and we had launched fax machine way back, 30 years back. I don't know if you would even know what fax machine is. And I decided to quit and launch my own fax machines. So I basically started with what I knew, and I just started doing the same thing. It was completely box pushing, and that's it. So there was no idea. It was just that what I was doing it in a company, I decided to do it on my own. That's it, and it started off from there. Of course, later on, as it matured, the second and the third, so I've been serial entrepreneur over 3 times over. Then you started thinking about what is it that you want to do, and the idea came from living in a hotel. That you're living in a hotel and there's no internet. So what do we do? And then I was in the US and I realized that not only in hotel, the large companies also don't have internet on their reception. What do you do? So why not help them, and started a company in US itself. So after that, the idea is just then you started looking for ideas. So that's how it happens. But now I've understood an idea has got nothing to do with what you want to do. Idea is just a starting point for a thought process, and I will explain later. It's much more structured way of thinking than idea actually, which can help you. Akshay, your story.
Sure.
Great.
No, so good that you spoke first. I was kind of thinking about some of the stories. I think on a lighter note, I think stories to kafi hain, since Bianca mentioned the first few. Starts right from grade 3 onwards, when I used to try and sell glaze paper at home, to grade 5 when I was trying to start a club in a colony I used to live in, to get everybody in the evening to come and play Ludo and watch Z Disney R and play all the games and pay me 100 rupees. It was a subscription product of sorts back in the day. I did not continue it too much. But coming down to leverage, I think, and given the topic is idea validation, तो मेरा फंडा काफी अलग था. I think easy था, simple था. When I was kind of quitting my job and I had a loan from my business school sitting on top of my head, so I told my girlfriend, now wife, that अगर ये 6 महीने तक चल गया और 10 लाख रुपए मैं लगा रहा हूँ और इसके 10 लाख रुपए मेरे पूरे निकल गए, तो I'll continue and then I'll work for the 7th month. Otherwise, because we're supposed to get married in a year or 2. Otherwise, अगर नहीं निकले वो 10 लाख रुपए, तो then something is basically wrong and I'm not doing it correctly. तो वो बड़ा सिंपल सा फंडा था. आई थिंक वो पहले 2-3 महीने में ही निकल गए, एंड देन फॉर्चुनेटली वी डिड नॉट लुक बैक. बट फॉर मी वैलिडेशन केम इनवर्ड फ्रॉम द fear of not being able to get married. So that was an easy one for me.
Great, good, superb. So, as you just started with saying idea validation is the topic for the today. So, you guys started with something from the very start. So, when it comes to idea validation, how much importance an idea validation carry in today's date, or even those days when you started? So, Pankaj.
So, let me pick up from where Seth. You see, he said I had X amount of money, and I said, if this money can take me to the next level, I'll continue, otherwise I'll quit. And that's a very important factor, and we call it in, if I have to give a terminology, it's called principle of affordable loss. A person should know what is he putting on stake, and how much it's going to cost, and how much loss can he or she afford. So that's the first principle of any idea validation. You need to know that let's say you're a 40 lakh, 50 lakh a year person, and if you're going to spend 1 year doing an idea, and that idea doesn't work out, are you in a position to lose that 50 lakhs? If you are, go ahead, do it. Otherwise, think hard and then just take a very cautious position. Because entrepreneurs are not like gamblers, all in kar diya aur chale gaye nahi. Aisa nahi hota hai. Entrepreneurs are very smart guys. They think a lot and then do it. The first step of idea validation is normally to look at the customer, because everything is about customer end of the day. Whatever you are doing, a customer, somebody will have to pay for it. And if somebody has to pay, it has to be the customer. So you have to look at a customer and see whether somebody is ready to pay for it and why will he or she pay. And normally people start with an idea. Actually, that idea should be a solution to a problem. You should solve some problem for somebody to actually he or she should appreciating it and then paying for it. We have a term called willingness to pay. The customer willingness to pay for a particular idea or a solution, as I call it. That's the first step to do. And if you're not doing that, which is being customer centric, talking to customer, understanding his pain points, and then solving it the way he or she wants, not the way you or anybody else wants. Because ultimately, if he or she is not going to pay for it, how does it matter what problem you're solving or what your solution is? It doesn't matter at all. Startups and businesses normally, first of all, fail at this level itself, where they don't realize that there is somebody there to pay for it. I mean, people think, कोई ना कोई तो दे देगा. नहीं, कोई नहीं देगा. पैसे फालतू में नहीं है लोगों के पास देने के लिए. People have hard-earned money, and they will only pay if they see benefits in it, they see some value in it, and if they see they can afford it. There's so many factors to it. So you better know all those factors beforehand, and then start any businesses or any startup. Otherwise, so you're going like a bull in a china shop. घुस जाओ अंदर, तहस-नहस कर दो, कुछ ना कुछ तो हो जाएगा. And that mentality is what is taking this country and the entrepreneurship down. 95% of the people fail because of that. Akshay, what do you think?
What do you think, Akshay?
No, so interesting, sir, because I've done both of what you have said. So disagree and agree in parts. In fact, I was wearing a T-shirt till yesterday which said "Go all in." So that's to begin with. But I think again coming back more seriously on the stuff that you spoke about. So I think idea is both. You can't essentially give it too much importance as well, but you can't say it's not important too. In our case, I think we started off as a mentorship marketplace with a simple funda that you know what, not all students are extroverts, not all students are going to go out and look for experts in their field. But what if they get the right mentor in their lives? Their life can completely transform. They can do the right things. I saw the same thing happen for myself in my early 20s. And the only vision back then was that can I democratize this for millions of people across the entire country? And if everybody gets the right mentor for themselves, like magic can absolutely happen. We started from that. That was the initial idea, per se, if you could call it that. But of course, an idea needs to evolve, and that evolution essentially needs to be rewarded in terms of our people who it is built for lapping it up very enthusiastically or not. And second, are they willing to pay an X price for it? So in our case, we started with multiple categories. When we started the mentorship marketplace, we had a category focused on school kids, one on university admissions, one on helping people with their first jobs post-college. And we realized that the university admissions category kind of picked up really fast, and people were really kind of trying to figure out, hey, I don't want to go to a random counselor on the street. These are people who are just going to help me kind of write a much better essay or whatnot. Sorry, somebody.
No, actually, your voice is, yeah, you're hearing.
All right. No worries. I thought it's somebody else. But I think our clear differentiator from day zero was that, and that's the second part that I was going to come to, that that validation is going to come from how you're kind of solving the same problem in a different way, or you're solving an absolutely new problem. So of course we knew that we are not building rockets, we are not essentially going to space, we are not creating something which is absolutely a fresh invention per se, but we're trying to redo the same thing which has been done since zillions of years in a far superior fashion, and add that value incrementally and make sure that the careers that we essentially kind of focus on are much richer. So picking up from that thread, the mentorship marketplace came through, and we started helping the students meet experts who are essentially like them using AI. And for example, if I'm from a Kanpur, I get to meet somebody who's also from a Kanpur with the similar likes and dislikes, EPL to EPL, Sufi to Sufi. So as a mentee, I'm working with somebody I really aspire to be like, and as a mentor, I'm working with somebody I feel like, hey, you know what? I was like this person 5 years back in the day, so I really want to help this person. And I think that differentiating bit, firstly to students, that hey, you know what? I'm gonna get to work with somebody who I can really relate to, who I can really A lot of people made counselors they did not want to become like in life. But these were guys who were working at banks and consulting companies, and big FMCG companies, and like leading startups. So they wanted to be like these guys 3 years, 4 years, 5 years on the line. So that connect really came through, and I think that was the differentiating point for us. So to kind of summarize, I think both pieces are important. I definitely believe you should go all in when you're doing a startup. There, of course, there has to be a lot of thinking. There has to be a lot of structured approach to doing every single piece, every single day, every single problem set. At the same point of time, have a very daredevil kind of attitude towards getting into startups, because for the first 15 days, I think the glamour kind of goes out, knocks outside the window, and then it's pretty much dukaan chala rahe ho, shut her up and shut her down. So I think those pieces are really important to think through if you're looking to do something in the early stage space, especially now. And lastly, like I said, make sure that there is a differentiation in terms of how you are solving that problem differently, and are customers going to lap it up? Are they going to lap it up by referring it to other people, even if you are kind of pricing it much later, even if you're monetizing it like 2 years, 3 years later? If you're monetizing it right now, are people kind of paying it and they have a good experience at the end of it?
Great. So coming to the very next question, Pankaj, from you, that you, as we all know, that you have years of experiences in mentoring the startup from the very early stage. So and even as you said, you run cohorts and accelerators programs for them. So when any startup founder is coming to you or telling you some idea, what are the critical points that you keep in mind when you're shortlisting them, and how you go with the validation actually?
So, first of all, we try and find out what problem he's solving. If he's not solving any problem, I don't see any reason for getting engaged with that person. You need to solve a real problem. People only pay for something that they value, and they only value things which they are looking for because they are in pain, where they are in trouble, or they want to look some solution. Otherwise, they don't pay. So if somebody is not solving any real problem, then in that case, that person we don't engage. Second thing we look at is his ability to solve the problem. So you may find a real problem, but if you are not able to solve that real problem and you want to outsource it to somebody, it doesn't work. You cannot outsource it. You need to have your own skill to go ahead and solve that problem. And that brings me to his ability to solve the problem is more important than actually identifying the problem. And also, you need to actually solve that problem significantly better than the other guy. Actually, I was just talking about that he was doing it better. I'm saying you need to be significantly better because the other person who's already solved the problem can actually do a catch-up game. So you need to solve it significantly better than anybody else to actually gain the trust and the faith of the potential customers who are actually looking at having some solution and ready to pay for it. They want to know how much more value that you can bring to the table than the other guy, and that's what they're paying for. In that context, somebody has to go and speak to them. So one of the reasons that validation is so important is you are not interacted with the potential customer. You're going by मेरी बही मेरा खाता मैं उसमें कुछ भी लिख लूँ ऐसे थोड़ी होता है, right? मेरी बही मेरा खाता तो अपने घर में रखो, दूसरा थोड़ी उसके लिए पैसे देगा आपको. The other guy is only going to pay if it's add value to his books. If it's not, he's not going to pay. So people have to interact. So people have to be communicative. People need to get out of the building, not sit in their comfortable AC rooms and then think about a solution and then go and code a few things and launch it. It doesn't work that way. So people should be ready to go. So we are looking for people who are solving real problem, their ability to solve the problem, who are ready to go and interact with stakeholders who actually understand how, what, when, all these questions. They need to ask those questions and get answers to them. And then on top of that, get some help. For God's sake, don't go without him. When we were doing it, there were no mentors. There were mentors, but those mentors were like one uncle who's doing some business somewhere. He had no idea how to do a startup. And one banker told me once, I asked him, can we get some loan? He said, 2 जोड़ी जूते खरीद लो. I said, क्यों? कहता एक जोड़ी जूता तो घिस ही जाएगा आपका. Loan लेने में. I'm talking about 30 years ago. Today we have funding, venture funding and all that. Those days there was nothing. There were no loans. So I think what we are looking for is the people who actually can understand what is the modern way of building a startup. It's a very tough call, but that call you will get a lot of help if you look for a mentor, right? And the mentors are not looking for asking you money. People, mentors who are sitting are really not the people you should touch. All you need to do is just go with them, work with them, give them some equity, so they have the skin in the game, and then you move along. So mentoring is very, very important as far as we are concerned. If you're not looking for mentoring, we are not the ones you should look at. We are very, very focused, and we help you with everything that you want to do as far as you're ready to accept. What we say is unlearn to learn. They need to unlearn a lot of things that they may have learned in 5, 10, 15 years of their work experience to start a startup. It's a green field. It's completely barren. You need to start from zero. So you need to unlearn and learn from the mentors while you work with the stakeholders on the other side.
Correct. So summing up what you just said are the 2 points, that the very first thing, the founders should go to the customers and see if they can sell their product or not to them. And second, the mentor, the role of mentor.
No, we are not selling anything. Selling is way later. First, you need to understand is, are they ready? Or do they understand that there is a problem and you can solve that problem? And are they ready to pay for it? Ready to pay, not
Exactly. Ready to pay, right? Correct. And the second part is like you need to have a mentor when you are starting up with an idea or the startup. So taking this point to Akshay, when you started up and you had your idea, you wanted to get it validated, so did you go door to door, what people said today's date, like you went to your customer to get it validated, or initially you started with a mentor when you wanted to get it validated or something like that?
No, so two pieces. Let me go back to where sir left, and let me then kind of pick up your question. I think validation, of course, it comes from speaking to customers, but I think it also comes from trying to pick up trends. For example, if I have to kind of just very quickly tell you how I look at the business today, I and a colleague were in the UK in February, and we saw COVID is gonna come through ASAP, and we knew that okay, universities are gonna be in a very bad situation, and students are gonna be in a very bad situation where they both can't essentially see of each other, and hence, like overnight, we essentially built out a completely new software platform called UniConnect, which is a big hit today, which has been covered in be it a CNBC or be it anywhere. So it's been a big hit for us, and we launched a kind of completely new product in like 1 month flat, and now it's been live for the last 1.5 months. Second thing that essentially we are even predicting today, so and hence the larger theme is that you need to be on the lookout for trends that are going to be there, is that universities will get unbundled over time, which means that university as we know it is not going to exist. University encompasses of the academics, it encompasses the credential that you walk away with, it encompasses all the networks that you make in there, it encompasses all the relationships with professors that you build, and so many other pieces, right? The academics part is going to be different. The credential part is going to come from some other place. And when we are saying that, hey, you know what, as universities get unbundled in the next 5 to 7 to 10 years, we want to start preparing for it from here. And I think that's what is important. Though I agree with sir, and of course, the door-to-door is something that you would have to do right in the beginning, but the door-to-door should happen after years of trying to understand how an industry is going to move out, in what particular fashion is it going to behave, because if you've got those tailwinds right, then very few things can essentially go wrong. In fact, to the contrary, I got a lot of advice from people to not do this business as they couldn't see the market size, and the same guys today see the market size, and we have had some of the biggest VCs in this country and a lot of other investors kind of come to us and see the market size and say that okay, this is a great $1 billion opportunity and this is a $1 billion revenue opportunity and so on and so forth. But 3.5 years back when I started the business, a lot of these guys were not very enthusiastic when I was doing my door-to-door version. So I think hence I will go back to something that I started on. It's very important to look inward. It's very important to be structured with your thinking, and it's very important to kind of predict those trends much ahead of time. Of course, just kind of wrap up this part. To Sir's point, very important to have mentors, but at the same point of time, I won't give mentors more importance than my own insights, my own idea, my own belief around what I'm seeing on the ground, because nobody can understand the business better than the entrepreneur, however close they may be to the business. So, of course, have mentors. know that you are the person who's essentially running the show, and you need to be everybody else. You can't go and speak to a mentor for every little thing that is going to happen in your company. You need to be very, very sure about the long term, the short term, the day to day, the numbers, the specifics, the investors you want to kind of speak to, who do you want to meet, who do you want to not meet, what particular product should you launch with every particular season that comes through, how are customers responding to your products, is it something that they don't like that you should change ASAP, is there a problem in the business model that you should essentially look at evolving as soon as possible. So all of those pieces are something, and like zillions of those questions are right there in your mind every single day, and you better be thinking through them and be obsessed with the problem that you're facing. You better be all in, and there should like be anything and everything about your life. So I think that all of those pieces, all of that passion, all of that aggression, in my view, becomes really important as you go out and solve a problem. And then, of course, for stuff that you will not be able to solve, you go to mentors, and you go to the right mentors. I also feel that, and I've been on the fences for a long time. I think that's why I identify with stuff like this. That's why I always agree on doing stuff like this, because I have been, I've tried to start up when I was 19. I've tried to start up when I was 23. I've been that guy who has been at conferences trying to get a selfie with somebody who's much more accomplished and trying to meet them and shake their hands and all of that stuff. So I relate with a lot of things on the other side today. And when I have access, not that I've achieved too much today, but given that I have access today at least. And I think what's more important is that उस वक्त ज्ञान देने वाले काफी लोग होते हैं. It's very important to also choose the right mentors, क्योंकि वो एक entrepreneur के पीछे मतलब कम से कम काफी बार हमारे देश में क्या हो गया, mentors ज्यादा होते हैं, entrepreneur कम होते हैं. तो होता है कि भाई ये 20 mentor तो ठीक है, मतलब let me kind of मेरे business के लिए which person will open the right threads for me, will open the right doors for me, and will tell me exactly this is how you solve the problem, dear entrepreneur. And
Actually, one of the things that ex-entrepreneurs when they become mentors ना, तो वो तो यही कहते हैं, मैंने ऐसे किया था ना, तू भी ऐसे ही कर.
correct.
You have a different business. I have a different business. Why should I do that? I mean, why can't you tell me how to do my business?
Exactly.
So you're right.
Exactly.
ज्ञान देने वाले तो हर नुक्कड़ पे खड़े हैं.
And in fact, I don't say it without reason, right? So when I'll just take 30 more seconds. Sorry, this is dragging a little bit, but I finished my MBA in 2014-15, and then I was selected to be a fellow at this accelerator/incubator called Rayburg University in Silicon Valley, and it was a big deal back then. Photo came in newspaper and all of those things. So when I came back, I got a lot of offers from co-working spaces/accelerators to kind of become mentor. And I did that foolish mistake of, I won't name the organization big name where I was a mentor. And for about 1.5 years of my life, every single Saturday, I used to kind of, in Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, all three cities, I used to kind of go out with my notebook and meet these entrepreneurs, meet these early stage folks who were trying to solve something, and I was kind of mentoring them. And as I essentially started to realize that I'm going to start up myself now, and that reckoning came in like, sorry for using that word, but who the fuck am I? Who the fuck am I to essentially be advising these guys? Like, I myself know zilch. And today also feel like I know zilch. I'm like, you're a student, you're learning kind of something new every single day. And what I used to kind of realize after every one of these those mentoring sessions back when I was a mentor was that यार मेरे को ज़्यादा सीखने को मिल रहा है. I don't know what these guys are able to kind of learn from me, but I'm able to open some doors for them for sure, and that's the only bit. But I don't think I can essentially teach them, somebody who's running the business every single day. And so yeah, I think it's very important that an entrepreneur knows that they have to run the show, not depend too much, and yet find the right mentors who can guide them. And just a small way where I would differ with sir is that. I would have to make sure that the mentor has skin in the game. I would not give them equity without money. I would make sure that they put at least some money in the business, be it a small financial.
That's my view. Then you're turning a mentor into a consultant, and that's a bad thing.
That's my
moment you start.
It's not a fee. It's for a percentage equity in the business, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs what they also get wrong.
Yeah, I don't say equity.
I also angel invest in companies now. Sure. No, so I will say
you should not pay any cash money. Equity is also what I'm saying. You should have some.
Of course, we will both have our views, but my humble view there is that, and when I look at a lot of cap tables sometimes for early stage companies. So equity आगे आपने इधर उधर बात दी होती है, उससे काफी issue भी हो जाता है further on when your bigger rounds are happening. I've
Yeah,
seen it happening with a lot more.
I am right now holding equity of more than 40 companies. 15 of them have actually raised their pre-series A, so I don't see any reason. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
Awesome.
Because the reason is that look, you also need to understand. So I have been there. I have raised millions of dollars. Done three, one in Silicon Valley, two in India. I mean, I've done three this thing, and after that, I went back to studies. After having my exit in 2013, I went back to Harvard for a year and another 6 months into MIT to learn entrepreneurship. Why? Because I wanted to see that how it can be actually put into a framework. Important is framework. People can try even trial method, and that's where I realized the mentorship actually helps people in telling them where to go or what to do. What they should do is they will decide.
Agree.
You can just tell them these are two
agree.
and this is, and that's where I think if there is a so and for example, it's a wealth creation opportunity for everybody. So if you have a mentor and you have right 13 we did business for about 13 months, 6 months of press and 13 months of business. 18 months the company got taken over, right? And it got taken over, and immediately the company which took over, their VCs actually reached out to me. Hey, please don't bring it with your own skills. And he's ready to pay for it. So willingness to pay and ability to pay. These are the two very critical things in startup world. If there are people who are willing to pay and their ability to pay, and there is a scale to it, certain amount of scale. Nobody wants to invest in a lifestyle business. Everybody wants to invest in a business where they can see returns. And returns in startup is always through equity. So if you go there and you put this proof that these are the kind of people who have this kind of problem, and I'm solving it like this, and I'm solving it significantly better than what they're experiencing right now. And at the same time, they are a million in number, and I think I can get about 30 or 40% of their market because I have these skills. I think the money is available. There is no way angel investors today find it difficult to find people with good, validated idea which they can fund it because it can go to market. Go to market is the only time that they need money, not for product. You don't need any prototype. You don't need anything. You just need to show them that this idea does work because these are the people who are saying that is the proof I've got for you.
Correct. How about you, Akshay?
Sure. So I'll not repeat what Sir said. I'll just try and add to it. Two pieces, I think, given COVID, given everything that is happening right now, it's very important that we open our eyes to the fact that bootstrapped businesses are back. Even the businesses that are going to get funded, even the businesses that are going to see more money, be it for building MVPs or be it for essentially charting out growth parts, are businesses that show some level of sustainability. I don't think anybody will be comfortable in funding a business which does not show sustainability. I have put 2 angel checks in the last 2 months, but again in businesses that don't have to prove their MVPs, but businesses that you essentially know that okay, these businesses will be there with COVID, without COVID, with funding, without funding, and I think those pieces are really important. Second, just to kind of add on to what Sir said, of course, completely agree. A lot of money is available. There are enough angel forums. There are enough. There is an IAN, there's a Mumbai Angels, there's a Kiritsu forum, and there are like 10,000s of angels in this country right now because everybody is started to see it as an asset class that they want to keep their money in. Just like people started to kind of warm up to mutual funds about 15 years back, people have now started to warm up to startups, and they want to park 2%, 3%, 5% of their wealth in startups, which is the risky category per se. But I think what's very important is that, and that's something I'm not, something that came to me as an advice 3.5, 4 years back, and I'm just kind of passing it on since I remember it right now, is that be very, very cognizant of who you're getting on your cap table, because that will define how you move, not just in terms of learning as an entrepreneur, but also in terms of your fundraising journey, who are the people who would speak to you after this. And I think that makes all the difference. If you'll see some of the best companies out there, and if you will look at the cap tables right from when they started raising angel checks, if you look at an Uber cap table from the angel round, if you look at an Oyo cap table, Ritesh is a good friend from the early rounds when he raised 30 lakh rupees. If you look at like one bunch of these companies that come to my mind, so I think they were very cognizant, and everybody should be very cognizant about the kind of angels they are letting come on board. Because for that guy, it could or could not be their life's work. They could be very passionate about mentorship, like Sir said, really want to make sure that the entrepreneurship trend per se, which is within their heart, grows so that they're helping the entrepreneur and all of those pieces. But there also could be somebody who just kind of parked that wealth and does not care about the person anymore. चल गया तो ठीक है, नहीं चला तो मतलब ठीक है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, लूज हो गया, रिस्की था वैसे भी इन्वेस्टमेंट. And the VCs that come in the next round, or the VCs that come in the next round, subsequent to that, are always going to look at who your angels were and who are the people who supported you. Are these people who have themselves raised VC money? Are these people who have themselves raised, build big businesses? Are these people who essentially are able to open a lot of doors for you as you move forward in your journey? And I think that plays a far more important part than people like to believe. So if in fact anybody is kind of noting down something from the session and they want to walk away with one key message from my side, I think it would be about money will be there, don't worry, but just be very cognizant about who you're getting on the cap table. Don't get every Tom, Dick and Harry on the cap table. Like, it's supremely important.
Great, very insightful advice. Akshay, I'm sure people are noting it. So, coming to the very critical thing right now, the very last thing that many industries have like got impacted from this COVID-19 situation, like you were right now saying, Akshay, right? So now when we talk about these 2 to 3 months, there were million of ideas who would be erupting from the door, like every house, every budding entrepreneur right now, that how can they build their business plan according to the next time coming on after COVID-19 situation. So what, according to you both, can be the best industry to think about or not to think about? Starting from you, Pankaj.
Well, it's everything. See, industries is not important. You need to look at the customer behavior. It's going to change dramatically, right? Everything is going to change. You need to, and this is my advice to all entrepreneurs for all times to come. You need to keep a very close eye on how your customer is behaving and what he's saying for the future. And things are not going to change in immediate terms, but in 6 to 12 months, drastic changes are going to happen in people's habit, right? Now, are you tracking them? Have you tracked them for yourself? And a lot of people are now running towards healthcare. A lot of people are running towards things which they don't even understand. Healthcare is not something that can be done by anybody or everybody. It needs a certain amount of speciality. So don't go for healthcare. People are running after healthcare for no rhyme or reason. It's not about healthcare. It's about the consumer behavior which is changing. It's changing dramatically. Now imagine when you go and buy something today in a supermarket. I went to Spencer's, right? You will need to wait for half an hour outside. Only 30 people are allowed inside. Okay, in a good time, let's say in 6 months' time, maybe 50. But that means everybody will not be allowed. What does that mean? That means that 200 people will stand outside. How are the things going to change, right? In tomorrow's 45 to 50% of restaurants are going to shut down permanently. That's the that's the report. If that's going to shut down, how are you going to behave in your restaurant? How will they entertain you? I mean, you can see those canopies and everybody sitting in that canopies and having, that's very, very temporary. How are people going to actually go there? How are people going to behave there? The restaurant guys need to think about. The entrepreneurs that side need to think about. People at just about 2 months ago, a very important court shot down saying that there will be no delivery of alcohol at home. Where is that gone? 2 months ago, court passed an order that no medicine will be delivered through e-commerce mode. Where is that gone? Everything is gone out of proportion. I mean, everything is completely destroyed. All those notions, the laws are going to change, the governments are going to change, everybody is going to change. So just keep an eye on that. Whatever is your core, believe in your core, not चलती का नाम गाड़ी, जो गाड़ी चल रही है उसमें बैठ जाओगे, ऐसा नहीं होता है. Think about your core, think what you can do, watch out for the consumer behavior, go and talk to people what they're going to do after this, and then understand and then think how your business is going to position in next 6, 12, 24 months. Beyond 24 months, I mean, if you're an astrologer, you can do that. Or if you're a crystal gazer, you can do that. Don't look beyond 24 months because things are going to change rapidly in those 24 months itself. It will be very difficult for somebody who's actually in the middle of fundraising, Series BA and all that to change now, right? But you can pivot based on the consumer behavior. Focus on consumer, their new patterns of behavior, and just adopt that for your business. And believe in your core. What's your core? How do you build a business on that core? What's your skill sets? What's your team? All that is important right now.
Great, cool. What about you, Akshay?
Sure. No, I think. By the way, alcohol delivery, I'm sure like people are very excited about that. And in fact, not, and I'm not saying this on a lighter note, but I think astrology is also a good industry to be in right now. We have a portfolio company amongst Bloom Ventures who sit on our board doing astrology, and they're doing well. I think I pretty much similar thoughts to what Pankaj said. It's not about the industries per se, it's about the different behaviors that are changing within those industries. For example, whether you pick up food, fashion, travel, health, education, my sector. Now you could essentially be doing things which are absolutely boring and which will not be relevant anymore in that space. So you could be doing something which is interesting. Within education, you could be in a classroom education format as well. You could be a school, you could be a college, you could be an online learning, you could be an online product-driven education company. Same thing for fashion. How people shop is going to be very, very different. Is it going to be a variant of people trying out clothes with a 3D avatar like people used to do in Lenskart 4 years, 5 years back in the day? Perhaps. Within food, is it going to be, of course, it's going to be less dine-in. Is it going to be delivery with a, which is more hyper-local, which is more, which focuses more on fresh food, which focuses more on health food, maybe. Within health, is it going to be more telemedicine and less of all other pieces which were more brick and mortar, which were more hospital-driven, perhaps. So I think all industries have this opportunity. I don't think even one opportunity would not have an opportunity where customer behavior is going to force companies to think very differently about how to be relevant. So you're not just kind of competing with startups who are the same size as you are, or who are the same resources as you are, but you're also competing with age-old companies, by the way, who are not essentially, it's not that they aren't smart. They can also think, and that's why they've built up these 100 crore, 300 crore, 500 crore revenue companies. If you look at the SME, MSME space in India, and these guys will be kind of thinking about how do I make my buck as well, and they will be looking at re-innovate. They will be looking at how do I circumvent customer behavior and be able to offer my offerings in a slightly different way as well. So everybody's going to adapt to these testing times, and which makes it fun, but which also makes it more challenging. And I think that's why it's not something that you should go with blinders on. You need to think very, very carefully about what you're doing at this particular time. And if you're bootstrapped, if you're profitable, if you're building something sustainable, all the more better, because while funding is not going to dry up, it's definitely going to come up with more scrutiny. It's definitely going to come up with more discussions. Somebody was doing 2 discussions and giving you X lakhs. That is going to be 5 discussions now. And people are going to make sure they look into your books, and people are going to make sure they speak to 20 of your customers, then 5 of your customers. And so just be like very, very thorough about what you're doing at the particular moment.
Perfect. So what would be your one mantra that you would share? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. What do
Sorry, I just wanted to add one more thing about astrology. My last venture, we used to do an astrology product. We used to do 25 crores a year revenue on that. So I think it's a good business.
There you go. I think it's a beautiful business.
Yeah, it's great. It's just that I don't believe in it. That's it. Sorry, Priyanka, go ahead. Priyanka, go ahead.
Yeah. So on lighter note, so what would be one best mantra you could share to our viewers and the entrepreneurs who are starting up? Mantra that you used in your early days to stay confident and motivated and to come so far in this journey successfully.
Yeah, early days, though, it was just like I said, it was, you know, just go ahead and do it. That's it. I mean, you found out something and you just went and did it. But things have changed and I have changed, and I think everybody needs to understand that there are now frameworks available to start, to grow. There's funding available. There are mentors available. Everything. You know, where I come from, none of these were. I mean, they were not even existing in any which way, right? And when I started, it was like, you know, where do you go for money? So we were just meddling, right? We were just picking up stuff from here and selling it there, making our money. But those monies were very good those days because they helped us to build and, you know, for the next and the next and the next year. But that was the only thing. Now today, I would say seriously, three things. One, do not try and do it immediately after college because seriously, you have no experience how a company works. And people who are your friends who smoke, drink, and may not do everything else in college with you may not be the right guys to actually start a business. So that's one thing. Just take some time, build your skill set, and then second thing, when you're even stepping out of your comfort zone and trying to do something, think about affordable loss. Be very calculative in your mind. What am I going to do? Passion, and third thing is leave your passion home. There is a very thin line between passion and obsession. You really don't know when your passion actually converts into obsession, and then you get stuck into it. And then you know way out. A good entrepreneur is who zooms in and zooms out. Zooms in to solve a problem, zooms out to see how the whole thing is panning out. If it is not panning out, cut your losses, go home. Whatever you learn, apply it, you work on it, come back after some more time, gain some more knowledge, get some more, motivation for yourself, get some more money in your bank, and then come back again. Do not just get sucked into it. I mean, sometimes people, it's very difficult to come out of it. It's like a bad marriage. You're stuck into a bad marriage, and just because you got married, you need to stay married. Bad idea.
What's your take on that, Akshay?
He's giving those cheeky smiles right now.
नहीं सर, मैं मेरी अभी तो रिसेंटली शादी हुई है, इसलिए वो मैरिज वाला सुन के मैं थोड़ा सा हंस गया. तो नहीं यार, very simple. I believe startups are like sports, perhaps only tougher. How do you do sports? You focus on three things. You focus on learning as much as you can every single day. You focus on practicing as much as you can every single day, and then you believe in executing to the best possible and the best possible version, like an absolute bull. If you essentially, and I think I'll just course correct on something else you said. I think success as a word is very poorly thrown in our country. I think success in businesses, does Mukesh Ambani know about your business? If he doesn't, I don't think anybody's successful yet. Or by Mukesh Ambani, I mean to say any of the top industrialists or top stakeholders in that industry, if they know you well enough, and if you're essentially competing against thereby. So I think most startups are away from that, and I think till you get that, you have to kind of have a Virat Kohli-like mindset. Look at what Virat Kohli does, right? Like, he's the captain of the Indian cricket team, but you'll still see him even during this phase practicing like a crazy person, like an athlete that you kind of truly want to get inspired from. And he's pulling weights, he's running, and it's a practice piece. Then you need to learn a lot as an entrepreneur. Are you reading books? Are you kind of trying to listen to more podcasts? Are you open to being mentored, like Sir said? Are you open to essentially challenging your own thoughts? So learning as much as you can every single day. And then my belief always is like execution is God. And everything else. While the title of this session is idea validation important, of course, all of those pieces are important, but 99% of it always will be execution. That is absolutely holy. So execute in the best possible raw version that you can every single day, and then of course you can zoom in and zoom out at the end of it. But don't even think about anything else while you're executing. So yeah, pretty much be an athlete. Think about yourself as an athlete in your head, and I think that takes care of everything else.
So one question from the audience I would like to take, which seems interesting. Do you think POC of product important for deep tech firms to show to investors seek investments?
I think it's a completely misplaced idea. Deep tech and POC will take a long time to do. Let's say we are doing an AI or ML based thing. To reach to some level, you will need tremendous amount of data, train your data, and then get results and then POC. Sorry, I think if you're saying that it's a concept and as a this thing and your skills actually match that concept, you can go to VCs and take. I mean, somebody will put in money. But to have a POC to raise money is a completely false idea. You don't need a POC to raise money. I mean, all our investments are non-POC companies. We don't invest on POC because their valuations are too high. We can't afford them. We only invest in idea, but they should have a proof of the idea. If they have a proof of idea that this is what I'm solving and this is what my skills are, and yeah, go ahead, let's do it. And deep tech, I have currently about in health tech, I have about 9 or 10 deep tech companies. Agriculture, I have 8 or 10 deep tech companies which are really working on AI ML based things, and they've been working for 6 or 7 months just training their data, and they've already been funded some amount of money. So it's on. I mean, you don't need a POC. You don't need any money. You need to show a proof that whatever you are doing, somebody will pay someday for it. That's it.
Akshay.
I'm not a deep tech expert. I know Zilch.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much, guys, for taking out time and coming on the panel and sharing your insights with the entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs. And I'm sure you guys are already rocking in your life, and you'll keep on rocking. And I'm sure people would like to have you mentor on board someday or the other later after this session. So how do you reach you guys? Can you please tell?
LinkedIn is the best way. Just reach out on LinkedIn.
People saying comment, you don't reply on LinkedIn only, sir.
I am the most. I reply on LinkedIn. I mean, you reached out to me on LinkedIn, and we are here talking today. So LinkedIn is the best. I clean up my inbox and my connect every weekend. I'm very loyal to people who are on my LinkedIn. So that's that. Or you can reach out to info@padup.in. Info@padup.in. That's it.
Great. Akshay, what about you? How can we reach us if you want you on board?
I'm there on all social media, but I revert back to non-work people only on Sundays. So I'm on Twitter at Akshay001. But if you write to me on Monday, you'll wait happy for 7 days. My immediate loyalty is towards my team.
Perfect. Understandable. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining, and I'm sure you guys, whosoever you're watching, you got a perfect, insightful day today with our speakers. And thank you for joining live with us. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Pankaj, and thank you, Akshay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sure.
Stay in touch, Akshay.
Absolutely. Thanks. Look forward. Cheers.
Perfect.
Yes.
Bye-bye, guys. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much. So guys, thank you for joining us live today, and soon there will be a second webinar on 27th of May, which is the second coming series, second webinar of series coming on the row, telling you how would be our MVP strategies when we are starting up after an idea validation stage goes away. So stay tuned and stay tuned with the updates, on our page, Facebook page and LinkedIn page, to know about the speakers and how and what would be the further processes for the webinars. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for joining.